Cancer, this is your astrology for May 2016. Thank you for joining me. It's a real pleasure to be with you today. Two of your personal planets are in retrograde this month, okay, which kind of sets things up a certain way. Mercury is the communication planet, and that's in retrograde in your 11th house in Taurus. So I think you'll find it quite challenging to make decisions, especially practical, concrete decisions. Do we go here or do we go there? Do I sign this or don't I sign it? And just be aware of that. The other thing that's retrograde is Mars, and Mars is desire, is what you feel driven to kind of put your energy into. It's retrograde from the 17th of April until the end of June, the 29th, and it's in Sagittarius in your 6th house. So I think you're really going to want to stay put and stay in your comfort zone when it comes to your working life, and that you're not going to be particularly receptive or happy to unexpected news or changes when it comes to your day-to-day routine. And I think you'll want things to stay as they are. So you're a little bit rigid, you're a little bit inflexible, and you just don't want to be bothered, and you just want things nice and safe and the way they always have been. And that kind of sets you up for a big upset, because, you know, life on planet Earth, usually things do change, things don't stay exactly the way they are. And if you're just trying to maintain the status quo, then I can see that you could really blow up if things don't go your way, and if you're being asked to move locations, or if your job situation changes, that could be very frustrating for you. So just be aware of that you have a personal tendency with these two personal planets to resist change. Now on the 1st of May, there is a grand trine in Earth, and it pretty much stays there all month. It connects your Sun, your Jupiter, and your Pluto. And basically, the way you communicate and the way you react to situations it can have a profound impact on your working life. So if you come across as really reluctant and really unenthusiastic and uninspired, your boss, your manager, your other colleagues are likely to pick up on that, and it could cause you problems. So people could start gossiping about you in the office, or people could say, oh look, he's always grumpy, and if he doesn't want this job, then why is he here? It's that kind of talk. And that's the kind of energy that these retrogrades cause in you. It's that kind of like discomfort, I don't want to be here, I don't feel like this. And obviously no one likes to be around that energy. A part of your chart that you are much more enthusiastic and happy about is your own communication, your own interests that you genuinely do want to pursue, and also travel and education and exploration. So I think the day-to-day is a little bit, it feels like you're stuck a little bit, and what you're interested in is kind of escaping on an intellectual level and discovering something new. So it seems like you have the potential to be bored and you want some excitement in your life. So work with that. You know, make things better for yourself. Read a new book or go travel somewhere where you haven't been just yet. On the 2nd and 3rd of May, Venus goes into Taurus in your 11th house, and it sits at 2, 3, and 4 degrees in Taurus. Venus is the planet of love and beauty, and this is a great time at the beginning of the month to actually do something fun with friends. And to, you know, not force yourself to work all the time, and to just kind of do something enjoyable. What are the dates on that? It's a Monday and Tuesday, so again, sets you up for frustration if you have to go into the office and you want to do something. Maybe plan something after work at the beginning of that week. On the 4th of May, there's a grand trine in Fire, and this will really make you feel like you could structure things very, very differently to your career. So I'm sorry to say this, Cancer, but those of you who are in jobs that you despise and that you really aren't happy with, I think that'll come to a head and you won't be able to fake it very much longer. And especially around the 4th, you'll have this strong passion, this strong inner need burn up within you and say, this is what I really want to be doing, and I don't care that I'm going to have to be without an income for a couple of weeks if I quit. I don't care that I've signed a contract that says I need to be here for 6 months. I can't do it anymore. And it's that kind of passionate, reckless behavior that bubbles up in you at the beginning of May, and you're really going to have to be honest with yourself, or your chart really forces you to be honest with yourself about your own feelings. Because if you suppress, You can only do that so long until things blow up, and the first week of May is when the real you comes out. On the 5th of May, the moon starts to conjunct the midheaven, and this is really good, okay, because your moon is in Aries in the 10th, your midheaven is in Taurus in the 11th. If you do make that move to say, I've had it with this job, I'm going to change it, I'm going to do something I really like, then you can take the practical action on the 5th straight away to realize your hopes and dreams when it comes to career. Now, if you're retired or if you're a student, I always get people saying, oh, what, does this apply to retired people? Absolutely it applies, because we're talking about energy here. So if you're retired and you've been doing something in your day-to-day life, in your day-to-day routine, that you think you need to be doing, but that the joy has gone out of it, then same thing. During this time, the fire will kind of rise up in you, and you're like, I've had enough of playing mahjong every day, I'm going to go do something else now. On the 6th of May, the new moon occurs, and that's in Taurus. It pulls Taurian, if that's a word, energy into your chart, in your 11th house, and it will urge you, and it will offset the retrograde Mercury, and it will say, make a decision about what you want, and what you want your practical life to look like, and what you want to achieve. So big changes coming up for you, Cancer, and I think you're going to be at the helm, with the steering wheel in your hand, cruising along in your life, saying, this is the direction I want to go in. So good for you, that's very empowering. The retrograde Mercury slips into the middle of those two, between the moon and the sun, on the 7th of May, and it pulls in misinformation with this Taurus energy now. So again, very tricky, very careful. You're behind the steering wheel, but it's like having a crazy person now behind the steering wheel saying, wouldn't it be fun to drive off this cliff? This car, I'm sure, can fly. So that's a kind of example that indicates that you're not that trustworthy, you're not a reliable narrator this month of your own life, and it's important to check in with other people as well, which is difficult because you're so fiery, you're so interested in doing what it is you want, but this Mercury retrograde really doesn't help you. So I know you want to make changes, but please check in with other people. And you know, like if you have 12 children and you work in a factory and you decide, I can't do this anymore, that is going to have an impact. So make sure your own desires don't ruin the lives of other people, because I have to tell you this, your actions are going to have consequences, and it's not just you who's impacted by this, other people in your life are too. So this is very un-Cancer. This is very much me, as opposed to how can I nurture and help other people. It's about my life. And the problem with you is that you often want to help everybody, and you let things bubble along to the point where it's just like, I can't take it anymore, and then it explodes. So if there is an explosion, the beginning of May is when it presents itself. On the 9th of May, Jupiter goes direct. Jupiter is the lucky planet of good fortune, and it spends a long time in retrograde. It's one of the outer planets. But the fact that it does go direct on the 9th of May here really adds a lot of good luck, positivity, growth, and expansion to the way you see things, to the way you understand things. And it is important, and I know I'm giving you slightly contradicting information here, but it is going to urge you to take practical action which is congruent with how you really feel. So on some level, Cancer, you're going to have to figure out a way to be honest with yourself and to do what it is you want to do, and then try and mitigate some of the damage that causes, like that example with all the kids. If you can't work at that factory job anymore, you're going to have to do something about it, but then try and mitigate the damage by finding a job that you actually do like really quickly. Okay? Because this will expand and will have a ripple effect onto the other people in your life. You will feel luckier and more clear about what you're trying to achieve though from the 9th onwards, so you become more reliable within yourself. On the 10th of Moon, not on the 10th of Moon, on the 10th of May, the Moon starts to trine Neptune. The Moon is in your first house in your sign, and it trines with Neptune in the 9th. So on this day, it will seem very quiet and very subtle, but you will discover the solution to your problem. And this is the day that really turns things around for you, and you can really get yourself out of a bad situation, and now this is the beginning of something new, something better that will help you and support you. On the 12th, there's a T-square in the chart. It opposes Jupiter and Neptune and finishes with Saturn in your 6th. Basically, your clear vision, your idea of what you want to do with your life and where you want to progress to, will alter your practical circumstances. And it's down to what you think and what you believe. Okay? So, your life becomes more of an accurate reflection of what you really think and believe. And as a result of that, it will be better. You know, like Einstein, he worked as an insurance salesman and never did very well doing that. But then when he started to do what he was meant to do, he started to thrive. And that's the kind of transformative process I see happening for you this month, Cancer. On the 13th, the moon is in Leo, and it sits right on top of your rising. Oh, so that things start to look good now, okay? So this moon, you feel very passionate and you found what it is you're wanting to do. You can take the practical action and you can alter your job and really walk into the new job straight away. So your confidence and your passion and your enthusiasm, especially if you're trying to get from an employed situation to a situation where you're self-employed doing something you like, this is the month to do it, Cancer, okay? And I know that can be scary, especially if you do have bills to pay, but the people who are in that situation, things are lining up perfectly for you to make that transition. On the 14th of May, so much so that people who are very happy in their jobs will feel the need to make changes even if they already love their jobs, okay? The astrology is driving Cancer so powerfully that changes are inevitable. On the 14th, the moon goes into Virgo and it squares Saturn. And that energy really is very strong until the 17th of May. Your own belief in what you think is right and good and what will work for you will have a structural impact on the way your life is. Okay, I am a manager of a McDonald's, therefore, because I believe it, therefore I will put action in which will actually get me into that situation in life. Okay, so this is very, for transformation you get 10 out of 10 this month. Okay, for work you get 10 out of 10, not because it's good and easy, but because there are major upheavals and you start doing work that is aligned with your soul purpose. And also knowing your own mind and knowing your own thoughts and beliefs, that gets a 10 out of 10. I don't see a lot happening in love at the moment. I don't see a lot going on in spirituality. It's all about really getting clear and turning the kaleidoscope so things become sharply focused for you. Now that energy, that building, happens from the 14th to the 17th. Then on the 17th, Mars starts to oppose the Sun. And it's a standoff between what the working requirements are, where you're working, and how you really feel settled and grounded within yourself. And it may be that you have to do some things that feel, again, unpleasant and that you don't want to be doing. And you have a decision to make on the 17th. Do I keep moving forward to get to where I want to go, or do I step back to it and just do what I want? I get a lot this month that you're going to have to take certain actions which may not always feel easy or nurturing. So you've got a tough month ahead, but ultimately the outcome that I do feel you head towards is one where your life reflects your inner world much more closely. The moon starts to oppose Uranus on the 18th, and there will be some opportunities that present themselves via your family, which will show you the way forward. And like the previous day, if you said, I'm not doing that, it doesn't feel right, but now I'm stuck, on the 18th, a new opportunity will present itself from one of your family members, which will help you to realize this work, hope, and dream. On the 19th, the rising sign squares the Sun and Venus. And I really see some accolade coming your way, some sort of social acclaim, especially in a financial sense or in a practical world sense, where you're celebrated for some sort of achievement or standing up for yourself. I think someone will either pat you on the back and say, well done, I'm glad you're following your dream, or the changes you've made will pay off and you'll start to get your first paycheck. But it's some sort of beneficial message coming in as a result of the actions you've taken so far in May. On the 21st, the full moon occurs in Sagittarius in your 5th house, and this is totally different now. The full moon focuses on love and romance and really focuses you on discovering that. So Cancer, this month feels like an empty vessel that is just looking for things to fill itself with. First of all, you make space for the things that no longer work, and then you bring in the working elements that actually do work for you. And now that you seem to have done everything you can in that aspect of your life, you're focusing on the romantic relationship side of things, and you're exploring, you're moving out into the world to try and discover what it is you love. So this is a very kind of universal theme of, you know, the hole in the soul, the person who feels incomplete and actually has the courage to go out and try and find what it is they're looking for and to complete themselves. But it almost seems like it's out of your control. So I think the astrology is going to cause all of this in the background of your life, and you're going to have to engage with it on some level. And if you are someone who's completely unfulfilled, this will affect you very strongly. If you are satisfied with your relationships and with your working situation, you will feel a mild pull towards making things even better. Mercury goes direct on the 22nd, so it will seem much less dramatic now, and all of this information, misinformation, what's right, what isn't right, back and forth will ease off, and you'll start to feel like, okay, I'm on the right track. Things will start to ease off a little bit and start to feel more quiet. The moon starts to conjunct Saturn on the 6th, in the 6th on the 23rd of May. So the new security will be in place. I think you'll have a clear focus again of where you're heading. I think this is one of the days where you feel more comfortable and you can actually sit back and relax a bit and just kind of move along the path that's already been laid out. On the 24th, Venus goes into Gemini, and you will start to now feel some support when it comes to your spirituality. And a lot of this at the beginning of the month was just you trying to figure out, you feeling like this empty vessel, alone, isolated, and trying to get something in. And that, a lot of it was because there wasn't a sense of spiritual connection, and like you were missing something and you had to complete yourself. A nice trick for this month is to go into this month with a strong daily spiritual practice, and this will mitigate some of these big blow-ups that are happening, some of these life crises that potentially you can have. On the 26th, there's another T-square in the chart, and it connects Saturn and the Sun, and it finishes and completes with Neptune. And by having the spiritual connection and really focusing on bringing through messages that will help and support you, you will be given extra guidance on how you can fulfill your dreams. So I'm exhausted just looking at your chart this month, Cancer. I'm done. I'm like exhausted after this. So you feel really like things are totally wrong and you have to right them. Like I said just now, if you ask your higher power, your guides, your angels to work with you throughout the month, you can really make the changes in a much less traumatic way. Mars goes into Scorpio on the 28th. It retrogrades into Scorpio in your 5th house. And now the search for love and the search for completion turns into one of wanting emotional control and wanting possibly even to dominate and feeling disappointed and feeling like you're being taken advantage of. And this is not a good day to meet someone new. This is not a good day to hash out your emotional issues with someone. You're emotionally oversensitive, overly intense, and you feel frustrated and repressed. Good night. The 29th, the 30th, and the 31st, you have a Grand Cross in the chart to finish off this month. And this connects spirituality and the dream with the path that you're on and the certainty that you feel that you can achieve this. So really, I do give you a 10 out of 10 for work, because this is a cocoon month. You know, this is a little caterpillar turning into a butterfly when it comes to work, and it feels hectic, it feels exhausting, it feels very difficult, but ultimately you get to a point where you can really realize this work dream and ambition. So if you'd like a private reading with me, please get in touch via my website. The private readings take your place of birth, your time of birth, and your date of birth into account. So they're much more specific for you, whereas this takes all cancers into account. If you'd like a private reading with me about your work, about what's ideal for you, then please get in touch and we can look at that. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, and I will speak to you next month.